Our criminal justice system's priority has always been protecting a victim of crime. Unfortunately, those protections often can't be made available if victims don't have access to important records such as a crime report. Assemblymember Susan Talamantes-Eggman has introduced legislation to make sure that all victims, regardless of their residency status, can obtain copies of crime reports from state and local law enforcement agencies.
The purpose of AB 1195 is to provide, I think, justice to victims. It came to our attention that there were at least 5 counties in the state of California who were not providing crime victims reports of their crime if they weren't citizens.
According to an informal survey of local law enforcement agencies by El Concilio, an immigrant rights advocacy group, nearly a quarter of county sheriff's offices surveyed reported they would not accept a foreign passport or the matricula consular issued by the Mexican government as a valid form of identification.
Somebody should not be re-victimized by the justice system that is put in place to protect them. So this bill says if you're not documented but you have a matricula consular card, that should be sufficient enough identification in order for you to receive a crime report.
Victims of a crime.
Jose Rodriguez, president of El Concilio, says that putting roadblocks in front of people wanting access to their crime reports can have a deeper impact on public safety.
When we're talking about public safety and the criminal justice system, we want everybody to be able to have equal access to it. We work very hard with the Spanish-speaking community to be able to have them trust law enforcement and anyone related to law enforcement. So when you have issues like this that come up, it becomes very difficult for us to be able to go back to our community and express to them that they should trust law enforcement officials when it's law enforcement officials that are standing in their way of them being able to get on with their lives.
Assembly Bill 1195 would prohibit a state or local law enforcement agency from requiring a victim to show proof of legal presence in the country in order to obtain a crime report. The legislation also provides that if a document is needed for identification purposes, that a valid driver's license, an ID card, a current passport issued by the U.S. or foreign government, or the matricula consular can be accepted.
No me lo vayas a quitar hasta que yo te diga, okay?
In the past decade, the Mexican government has successfully intensified their efforts to enhance the security measures of the matricula consular. There are more than a half dozen security measures that are seen on the card, as well as other hidden security measures. In fact, the Internal Revenue Service accepts the matricula as a form of identification.
We are presenting way more documents to get this ID than a regular basic California ID. So I think it'd be this ID is more than valid.
If you aren't able to receive your crime report, oftentimes you can't get services that you may need. And we're mostly talking about Latinas who have been victims perhaps of domestic violence, human trafficking, all kinds of issues like that. Getting the copy of that crime report helps them get services, helps them get justice.
Getting a crime report can help a victim apply for restraining orders and other legal protections if they're the victims of domestic violence, human trafficking, or identity theft, just to name a few reasons.
This is one of those bills that somebody didn't come to us and say, here's a bill for you. It was one of those bills that we heard about from the community saying, oh my God, this is happening to people. This is happening to victims.
This report was produced by the Speaker's Office of Member Services.